Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Council of Future Conflict, episode 634. We're talking the State of the Union and Cartel Part 2. That was just a placeholder, by the way, but it works. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about what happened essentially after the Day of Rage that CJNG had down in Mexico. And there was a lot of really good positive stuff, and also just kind of some humorous stuff that came out of and some fucking sickening stuff, if I'm honest, that came out of the State of the Union. So I thought it's worthy to draw our attention. We're not a political show per se, but we all have a kind of a shared political kind of point of view here. And we all know that politics and conflict go hand in hand, especially in the domestic situation. So, I think we get a pass on that one. What do you think, guys? I mean, the State of the Union's political, but there's conflict just inherent in what's going on.
Well, the simmering U.S. Cold Civil War, it was apparent in the State of the Union. So, absolutely, it's future conflict.
Oh, sorry. I think I got disconnected for a second there.
Well, welcome back.
I missed everything after simmering.
All that I said was, I don't know if you heard me or not, but I just said that, hey, there's a simmering cold civil war, so it is future conflict.
Yeah, 100%, right? So, Joe, speaking of cold, how are you doing?
Well, I just popped open a cold one, and we're doing well. It's cold here. It's been in the 40s. And although we have been getting quite a bit of snow, weirdest thing ever, not last night, but the night before, we got about 1 inch of snow. And one of our neighbors, because he lives at a little bit higher elevation, got 10 inches of snow.
Wow.
And he came up here thinking he had to plow the driveway. And he was like, "You didn't get much snow." I'm like, "No." He goes, "I got 10 inches. I'm like, "Well, good for you." That's what you get for living up there on the summit. But anyway, it's been good, nice and quiet out here. I'm working on developing our pistol range, and by working on developing our pistol range, I mean using it every day. So
you got to know where the holes are, Joe.
Well, I gotta make sure that when the time comes, I'm pretty well versed for running the range. So it's a good time. We've got lots of projects planned, and they're all slated to be finished just before mountain readiness out here. So I hope a lot of you guys will come. I really do. I want you all to come hang out with me and see why I like this place.
I wonder if there's anybody out there that might have some spare steel targets they could.
Yeah, I could definitely use some steel targets. I've never been a big fan of them until we used to use them a lot at Blackwater and DynCorp. But when Kay was just out here and he set up a couple, I do like the sound. And when I'm at Mass, I like hearing the sound.
Feedback. Yeah. I mean, it's a hit or it's not a hit, and you know it immediately. And especially with pistols, like you can literally shoot steel like 5 feet away with a pistol.
Yeah. And
rifle.
I have some bad news for you. Mrs. Tactical Wisdom has already made that happen. I have one of those beer helmets, but I don't besmirch it with monsters. I'm just throwing it out there.
No besmirching because of monsters. Got it. All right. Looks like we got some lovely folks in the chat. Low-key LARP gifted 5 subs. If you don't have a sub over on Rumble, definitely go over there and hoover one of those up. Looks like 2, maybe 3 have already been given away, so that's good. Appreciate you, Low-key LARP, consistently keeping the members in the pink over there. So that's good. And Watcher, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I had a very expensive 24 hours. For those of you who follow me on X, we took up Jim's challenge, and we're going to learn how to CNC. And one of the things that sold it for me was when I realized one of the very common projects people do in the beginning of CNC to learn how to use the machine and just kind of do the process, which is, hey, do you know you can make brass challenge coins on one of these things?
Yeah, I that was literally the first thing I thought of when I realized what you had bought, and so I actually thought of that independently of what
or
you.
Slightly easier, actually, for another $100, I can slap a fiber laser on this thing, and we can get stainless steel challenge coins that are black, and then I can laser stuff into them too.
Well, the only thing I was thinking about with the challenge coins is how do you have something where you could print color onto them?
No, so it would just be bas relief. I need to find out how you do the color thing. I'm sure that there is a way because I've seen it before, but I need to figure it out.
Yeah,
but got some interesting, fun stuff coming. To be honest, I didn't get it for that. I got it for the incubator project that I've been working on. I need to make some custom PCBs, but
look at Stormy like double tagging it in both chats today. Well done, Stormy.
I know she is. You should all aspire to be like Stormy.
Matt, it is just 3. However, I have seen a lot of not very expensive upgrades people make for this particular one that can give it 5. So interesting. That might be a long-term thing. Right now, I'm good enough with 3.
Hey, I see you in the chat. We should maybe figure out a day when you can jump on here and talk about your book, the Hanging Creek Chronicles, or your book series. I am reading yours. I'm just really slow on it right now, but it's good stuff. But welcome, Russ.
That sounds like a cowboy novel series.
It's some post-apocalyptic, but yes.
Although I raise a realism objection, Russ. Air Force, bro. Come on. Anyway, Russ is an Air Force veteran, so I have to give him crap, but he knows I love him. So.
And then I guess the other last update I should give is that today should be the last shipping day. I wanted last night to be the last shipping day, and then we got pretty late and ended up having and we're like, oh shit, we forgot farm chores today. So yeah, we've got about, I think there's like 80 orders left in the system, and so we should be able to get those knocked out this morning, and then all domestic orders will be done, and then we need to finish the international orders, but there's actually not that many international orders. So,
I got a challenge coin right here that I just got from Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Murray. So, pretty
Very
cool.
Nice. Can I share, before we get into the odds and ends, can I share my favorite based British?
Hold on. Yes, I can do color.
Oh, very cool. Does it print?
No, it's way easier than you would suspect. It's literally just flowing enamel paint. Like you design it so that the enamel paint flows into certain areas easily.
Yeah, I wondered
the actual holes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered if it wasn't, like I was kind of thinking it through. So. I'm going to share something, gentlemen, because I like to spread pro-British, traditional British propaganda. If you don't mind, I know we have a very small minority of the chat but
it's mostly like Limey and then a couple of
old Hong Kong is in Britain, so maybe this will remind him to. All right, here we go. Let's see what Sargon's got to say. By the way, this is a Tommy Robinson shared this, and it's from this guy called Base Cow, I guess.
Well, we can't alienate Islam because we'll lose. Nothing to the British. We don't lose. Against anyone, anywhere, ever.
Yes.
Together, we will restore Britain.
Well, we can't alienate Islam.
Oh,
we'll lose.
I thought it was pretty good.
It's pretty decent. So hey, if you're from the UK, let us hear it in the chat. It'd be nice to hear. Oh, a headphone warning. Yeah, Scott, you got to be careful about the media.
I mean, when you've grown up in a time of war and shooting guns, you're not nearly as sensitive on the ears. Sorry, guys and gals. Mea culpa.
On the challenge coin thing, Squishy Hunter says he only has one. I've got a stack of them, but I don't ever put them out. I was at Ron's house a couple of times, and in Ron's whiskey room, he has like an entire wall of challenge coins, and they're very cool.
Yeah, I would imagine you get some pretty cool challenge coins when you've got that guy's background. Yeah, CLM is right. Well, Sargon, there was this one time long ago.
Yeah, I think once. Yeah,
but in his defense, he would say, "Well, it was Englishmen who defeated Englishmen."
They actually lost twice because they lost the first match, then they lost the rematch.
Yep.
Are you talking about the War of 1812?
Yeah.
I mean, they really pulled out because of the Napoleonic stuff. I mean, they basically said, we're not going to contest.
1812 was a sideshow to the Napoleonic Wars.
Right, exactly, 100%. And I think it was a economy of force effort, if anything, why they pulled out.
But they did burn Washington, D.C., so I still got to punch them in the eye for that. So
that's true.
What? I thought that was the only laudable thing. Sorry.
You know what the best thing about the War of 1812 was? It gave us the Ballad of 1812 by Johnny Horton. So
that's right. it made Andrew Jackson the man he became. Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Any more preamble, guys, before we jump into it?
No.
All right, let's do it, shall we? So. Somehow I got this out of whack.
I was thinking that when I saw it because
that's the first
main topic.
Yeah, that's the first. That was meant to be the first of the main topic things. If we have the just give me a second, I'll find something. All right, we'll start with our number 2. Panama seizes China-linked ports amidst Trump-Beijing dispute. So Panama has actually gone through and seized all the ports controlled by China, and they immediately turned around and gave them right over to the Swiss, which I thought was a rather adroit maneuver on the Panamanians' part, because it avoided the whole whoa, what, U.S., why don't you come in? Because, we would probably want to take more than just the ports. Panama.
They gave one to MSC and one to who's the other one?
I think one is a Danish company that's MSC, but it's owned by I can't remember. I'm gonna have to read the article here, but let me get to it. Panama published a Supreme Court decision issued in late January, in which we talked about previously on the show, that voided key port operations held by Hong Kong-based CK Hutchison. The Balboa and Cristobal terminals have become entangled in legal disputes involving Washington and Beijing. The timing is important as it comes a month before Trump's planned late March trip to China. On Monday, the ruling authorized. By the way, I will tell you that trip to China is making news over here. The ruling authorized the Panamanian Maritime Authority to take over the Balboa Cristobal terminals near the Panama Canal, ending concessions held by the Panama Ports Company, a CK Hutchison subsidiary, for more than 2 decades. The ruling stated that the Panama Maritime Authority will occupy both ports for reasons of urgent social interests and take control of all cranes, vehicles, computer systems, and software. What do you bet some of that stuff might have been booby trapped or
100?
I guarantee you that there's software in the cranes that's a problem.
Yeah,
and it will continue to be a problem because guess who makes the cranes?
Right.
I will tell you that small piece of history. My boots have stood on the Cristobal port. So back in the day.
Very cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Back in the day.
Let's see. I'm just trying to see if I can find a reference on this on the one who's taking over the ports. Of course, it was super easy to find earlier. Let's see.
Maersk is the one on the other side. That's right.
Yeah, Maersk. And now Maersk is, I can't remember if that's Swiss or Danish.
Maersk is Danish and MSC is Swiss.
It's Swiss, right? Okay, so I had it right. All right, so well, I had it backwards, but let's see. C.K. Hutchinson said Panama's move was unlawful and threatened national and international legal action. Go for it. None of your fucking international legal shit can make a sovereign country do anything. They can say, oh, well, we're not going to loan you money from the IMF or something like that. Well, they just turn around and talk to their Uncle Sam. Let's see. CKH considered the ruling, the executive decree, the purported terminal of PPC's concession, and the termination of PPC's concession and the takeover of the terminals to be unlawful. They said in a statement on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, adding the actions of the Panama state also raise serious risk to the operation, health, and safety at the Balboa and Cristobal terminals. Hong Kong listed shares for CK Hutchinson closed down 2.7%. Who cares? Following the move, the Danish shipping company Maersk and the Geneva-based Mediterranean Shipping Company were granted temporary licenses to operate both terminals. In a statement to CNBC, Maersk says temporary operations at Port of Balboa have already begun and will continue for a period of 18 months. One of the main tasks, I wonder, Joe, maybe if they got the people in there immediately after but just announced the formal kind of handover. So maybe that could have forestalled any, sabotage operations, either cyber or otherwise. But there's still got to be back doors into their systems.
I guarantee you they still have a back door,
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. In a statement to CNBC, Maersk said temporary operations had already begun. One of the main tasks will be the deployment of a new terminal operating system and training the workforce to use this new system. Yeah, no shit. Before the old one bricks the entire system. That would be exactly like the Chinese to do as well.
Just like they backdoored us in Djibouti.
Oh!
I was waiting. I knew there was a Djibouti joke that could be made in there somewhere.
I try to set them up for you sometimes, and sometimes they're deliberate, and other times it's
Yeah.
I don't even realize I'm doing it. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I think this is a good thing. The number one thought that I've had in here is that Maersk being such a big maritime player. And it being the Danish, it's like the Vikings are actually still out there and still in control of the sea lanes. But
yeah,
interesting. That's all. I think it's a good thing. And having two different shipping companies owning both ports makes sense from a fairness standpoint, right? If you have Maersk in charge of both ends or MSC in charge of both ends, you then end up giving preference to only your ships, right?
Right.
And having Maersk controlling the side that faces the Mediterranean and the Danish one facing the side that faces the rest of the old world, I think it makes sense.
Well, the irony, I always think it's so funny, the Panama Canal, it actually goes the other way, instead of going, like you go from the Western Ocean, the Pacific, but you have to go northwest to get to the Atlantic Ocean, which is in the east. It's like a, back counterflow type of thing. I always thought that was kind of a funny quirk of that. Anyway, all right.
Maersk just bought Zim. If that's true, that is very interesting.
What's this?
Maersk just bought Zim. Zim is the Israeli shipping company. That would be interesting. Maersk being a very large company of Ambry Maritime. So,
is Maersk part of Ambry?
no, they're a customer of Ambry.
Oh, customer. Oh, okay. I got you. All right. Watcher, any thoughts, or are you just happy to be here?
No, I guess like my only other thought is that the other good unspoken thing about this is that these two companies combined have more than enough significant capital investment to be able to make the investments in the hydrological improvements that need to be made. I don't know if you guys are aware, but the locks are losing way more water than Panama can afford them to lose, which is limited shipping traffic through the canal. And this can be fixed, but it's going to take a lot of digging in order to make more water available.
Well, right. My understanding is there's an entire plan, and this is one of the things that I guess China wanted to get in on to enlarge the locks and replace the locks, and there's a whole kind of like renovation plan for the Panama Canal that I guess they've talked about doing. So,
I will state clearly that us driving LAVs down one side of the canal, across the canal, and then up the other in the dirt had nothing to do with the erosion of the canal.
Very good.
Yeah, from what I understand, though, it started to become a question with some of the financial difficulties that a lot of other of their investments are coming under, if they were actually going to have the capital to be able to make those. So I think that might be part of why they're no longer in charge of the ports, to be honest.
Well, here's one of the things that are kind of interesting, and I think you saw this with Venezuela. It very well could happen with Iran. And then you could see it throughout the Belt and Road over the next couple of years, is basically losing access to the projects that they put their money into and not having the ability to forward deploy forces so that they could, actually enforce their claim, right? Hey, we built this airport in Uganda. It's our airport. Not if Ugandan military takes it over and the Chinese can't do anything about it. Yeah. And it's not just us that's doing that. It's like I say, like if the world basically tells China to fuck off, then it will.
Hey, look who joined.
Well, look who shows up. We
start
talking about
I gotta shut off my new toy, Joe.
Hey, if you need that program, let me know.
Yeah, I'm still working through it.
Well, before we go anywhere else, I think congratulations are in order for nailing yet another case. The Wonder Twins. Am I right? I thought that happened since the last time we spoke.
What do you mean?
Well, yet another one of the cases you guys wrote about turned out to be exactly what you guys said it was.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
You guys have a better clearance rate than the
Blaine and Miss Pardo the younger have a better homicide clearance rate than the Detroit PD.
Hey guys, be right back. I got to reload.
All right.
Keep freezing up, Scott. Anyway, see, Stormy, I just said I disavow anything in the Rumble chat, and you just threw that comment up there so everyone knows about it. So I don't know. I would not be surprised though, Scott, if we don't see gentlemen clad in black or navy blue who work for Ambry Maritime showing up at both ends of that port,
right?
For protection purposes. So.
Oh, by the way, Blaine, you also got the aliens underwater thing,
goodness,
right?
yes,
Evidently, we haven't seen you since that came out as well.
Yeah, I'm like, I think that senator or that representative read a copy of Land and Sea and was like, "Hey, this could possibly happen."
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is that, and I joked a long time ago about this, but reality is closer than fiction. That the FedGov is mentioned in both books. Series and that Blue Dawn and Land and Sea are actually the same universe. So.
Nah, but yeah,
So it's fun. And what can I say? Yeah.
Well, it does actually inspire a legitimate question, which is I know that you do a ton of real life world building for a lot of the series that you guys get into. When you guys started to envision the Land and Sea series, what was this at all a thought? Like, there are weird reports that have always happened of this, and then you built it off of real life stuff, or was this genuinely you guys just made something up out of whole cloth this time?
We made it up out of whole cloth. I didn't go with the whole underwater UFO phenomena thing. I stopped tracking the UFO phenomena thing a while ago.
By the way, I just I just want to mention since we're in the Welcome to Blaine section of the show, and we're getting ready to talk about the State of the Union. I just want to say it was nice to see that Marco Rubio has taken on another job, and that is to help Blaine promote his books. We got the 10-year 4 coming out. Was it just the other day, right?
Yep. It's number 2 on the bestseller list for pulp thrillers.
That's awesome, man. Tenure, I think, is doing pretty damn good numbers for you, isn't it? I mean, it seems like these always chart pretty high on the seller lists, right? The bestseller list.
People love the series, and this time we're going after the transgenders. So, and that's just going to infuriate a whole bunch of people, but there's a whole bunch of people who are like, this is way overdue.
Well, I tell you what, with the transgender stuff, you've got the people who are involved, like the actual trannies, right? But then you've got all the doctors and the drug makers. It is just a fucking cesspool of hate that needs to be flushed.
I nominate Braxton as the Secretary of the Department of Education. And I think he could clean it up.
We're working on number 5 right now.
That's awesome.
That's good.
How's Mike doing? I used to watch his YouTube, his periodic YouTube content, but I haven't seen him in a while. Is he doing all right?
Yeah, he's doing fine. More creative than ever.
He's such a talent.
Well, he's a character too. He's really got a great personality.
I tell you, he's told me a story about when he was, I guess it was in the 60s or maybe early 70s. I guess he was in college or something. He made money as a test dummy for marijuana like tests or something like this. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of stories. So, all right, let's see. Any thoughts, Blaine, before we move off the first topic on the Panama Canal? The Chinese got displaced and some European companies have taken over.
I think it's a step in the right direction-ish. I hate the Europeans as much as I hate the Chinese at this point, so I got to be honest with you. I'm not thrilled about it.
Well, the good news is that the Europeans will never challenge us when we actually just take it from them, whereas China might actually get their britches in a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, France shipped over a load of white flags just in case.
I hold out hope for the United Kingdom because there are some particularly based people there.
Oh yeah,
and I think that a lot of their military establishment and their, how do I word this, paramilitary establishment wants to do the right thing and wants to be taken off of the chain, but
that and like even Denmark, right? So Denmark, despite their soyness in Greenland recently, they've got some absolutely base migration policies, like must take 21 hours or 25 hours of education every week in order to like integrate, to learn the language, all this kind of stuff. Children are not allowed to go to, like second language schools. They have to go to Danish language schools, things like that. I think that's the kind of thing that
I'm going to disagree with you and say that I actually respect them more for their stance on Greenland because they're like, no, it's ours and you can't have it. That's actually, to me, that's actually a fairly based position.
Well, I don't.
America is not necessarily based.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, from a Denmark first point of view, it's absolutely the correct viewpoint. The problem is that they have no way to enforce the. You can't have it.
It was all a bargaining ploy on
Yeah.
Trump's part.
I
He
know.
always comes in heavy and forces you to fall to where he wants you in the first place.
It may be small, but the Danish Navy is actually pretty competent. And I'll point out that the Danish Marines are quite literally the oldest Marine Corps in the world, and they're very competent. So,
All right.
they literally founded Marines. Hello, Vikings. But
Yes.
whatever.
On that note, let's move on to our next story here. Breaking, people on the ground are reporting the regime in Iran has brought tanks and military equipment into the Khomeini hospital in Umma. And there's also reports of APCs in and around the university in Tehran, where they recently had some unrest and rioting. So if you
you're saying Islamic regimes hide tanks and command centers near hospitals?
Unbelievable, Joe.
No.
Unbelievable. I mean, come on.
Isn't
That's
so.
not saying that in. So,
Wow.
yeah, this is, I mean, not surprising to anybody who saw this. I just wanted to get your guys' take. I mean, we're kind of in the calm before the storm with Iran. I'll be honest with you. I don't think anything's going to happen until after the Thursday.
Yeah.
Joe, just kind of walk us through what is supposed to go down on Thursday.
So Thursday is another round of talks in Geneva between Iran and the U.S. I think we'll make a last-ditch plea there before telling them, hey, I know your country's already sand, but we're going to make it even finer sand than it was unless you capitulate. And somebody said, how do you strike a country with topography like this? And it showed all the mountains. Hey, it's actually makes that easier for us to attack and harder for you to defend from the air.
Yeah.
But hey, what do I know? So I think that we will, quite frankly, on Thursday say, hey, listen, you have to give up these nuclear ambitions, or we're going to churn some sand pretty seriously and hit some real targets. We'll see what Thursday afternoon brings.
So I think, I'll be honest with you, I still think this is the war that needs to happen. I'm not what you'd call a warmonger, but Iran is, between the people who are in that country that deserve a shot at a better life, and the damage that they did to us during the Iraq occupation. I'll be honest with you, in my personal opinion, I think 3/4 of the guys that we lost between 04 and until we pulled out were from the IRGC, of course. So, and specifically EFPs that Iran manufactured and smuggled into Iraq. So, Soleimani was a good start, but just we need to finish that up. All right. Anything else on Iran, gents?
Not as yet. We'll, like I said, stay tuned. It's a holding pattern.
Make parking lots great again.
Hey, make the head on the Gerald Ford great again. That's the only.
Right. Evidently, a bunch of guys won't stop beating off into the toilets because they're clogging the pipes with. I always thought that was. I always thought that was so funny that on, like, especially in the Navy, I guess, but in like anywhere in the military where you have makeshift Johns, there's always a sign on the thing that says "Do not whack off into the toilet." Oh my god, it's so funny. Gentlemen, have you guys been following any of the civil war inside of the conservative movement? I honestly haven't, because I'm not much of a guy for drama, but I get the feeling that this is going to get worse before it gets any better. Now that Dan Bongino is out of, I'll share the link, Watcher, in the private chat. now that Dan Bongino's out in the wild, and oh, wait a second, Joe, what are you talking about? The Idaho arrest?
Oh, a woman has been arrested for the attack on the Boise, Idaho ice facility.
Oh,
and she is exactly who you would think she is. a queer activist who is known in the area. Unfortunately for her, she got pulled over in a blue Dodge Durango that matches one that was seen on video in the area of when she dropped off the gas cans. And that traffic stop occurred at a gas station after she filled gas cans. So she's in pretty darn tough spot right now. Good as she should be. But
the only thing missing there is her name isn't Karen.
There are people. There are people whom I respect. I'm going to say that, who will tell you that you are not in an insurgency, but that would just not be accurate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, when you've got somebody who's crawling over, trying to get into Mar-a-Lago with a can of gasoline and a shotgun, it's amazing that people are like, oh, no, this is still peaceful.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That was, and they go, ironically, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office says, we don't know his motive. Shut up, moron. We know his motive. It doesn't take, you don't need to call in Columbo on this case, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, every week we see violent acts of terrorism, either against infrastructure or against people, conducted by left-aligned perpetrators, i.e. the trans movement, i.e. Islam, i.e. just bargain basement Antifa, right? It happens every week. Somebody is either killed or commits suicide in almost every one of these terror attacks, or they try to, and they're just too fucking inept to do anything. So, I mean, to say there was not a concerted effort for violence is, I mean, we're just been so lucky they haven't been more successful up until this point.
They're planning a weekend of action in Minneapolis, so we will see if they get anything else out of there. They feel like they've lost a little bit of momentum. That actually raises the level of risk, right? In order to gain the momentum, they're going to want to do something drastic. And let me just point out once more, like I do all the time, incompetence kills you just as dead as competence.
That's a good point. All right, so let me just kind of cover this slap fight going on between fuckwits within the. That's the actual. I actually liked your Civil War. You mean the slap fight between numpy fuckwits? So here's the thing: like, I'm not a Bongino partisan. I'm not a Candace Owens partisan, but I am aware of what happens within the conservative audience. Now,
let me just say, I can't believe that we've stooped to the point where we're discussing Dan Bongino and Candace Owens at the same time.
But see, that's the only reason we're talking about it, because the problem is that any political movement is built with the majority of the people in a political movement are low information voters who have some sort of emotional basis of support to these, specifically to these, like you could call them demagogues, you could call them whatever you want, these talking heads that people start to trust. So, like, for instance, Dan Bongino's fans, and I respect them better than I do Candace Owens' fans, but still, I mean, he just kind of shows you in this statement how stupid he can get, right? And so if you're a Dan Bongino fan, you're just going to buy into whatever he says no matter what, because you're emotionally invested in his story.
Yeah, but at this point, do you still consider Candace Owens in the conservative movement?
No, I consider her in the Candace Owens movement, but
she's literally crazy.
Yeah, she LARPs as a conservative, though. That's the problem. And she's dragged some of her conservative constituents into it, especially some of these Ron Paulites and things like this,
There's actually a great lesson in Candace Owens, and I want to make this point. So in the chat, listen up. When she was associated with Charlie Kirk, smart girl, fantastic, had great points. Once she met a crazy, and I hate to say this, I know you're all going to come at me. Once she met a crazy anti-Israel nut job and married him, she became an absolute loon, and there's a lesson in there.
I mean, he's a Muslim, isn't he?
Huh?
He's a Muslim.
No,
I thought he was
not.
a Muslim.
No,
he's one of these.
Quite the opposite. Yeah.
Like,
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe.
her considering herself a conservative is like all these trannies considering themselves to be women. Okay, you can call yourself whatever you want, but your actions and your biology and should show different. She is not a conservative anymore. She's just some batshit crazy woman running around, besmirching the dead, spewing lies. She'll do she is literally the definition of clickbait. If you look at it in the dictionary, there's her picture.
Sorry.
Her husband is heavily influenced by Nick Fuentes, and there it is. Right.
I found a recent picture of Candace.
Oddly enough, the same picture. She looks like the
Kamala.
former, Kamala, the former vice president.
Kamala's picture for President's Day.
I guess the bottom line is that, and I want to this is the opposite message of what you get out of something like the State of the Union, because it was about all the people in the audience, I think, more so than the politicians involved, is that you gotta disassociate yourself from these cults of personality within the political movement. And I understand it's very easy to get there, like whether it's guys like Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck, from the old days, right? Or some of these newer people like Nick Fuentes, right? The problem is that the people who really get sucked into these are low information. And so the good news is, if it's a conservative who gets locked into one of these things, you can generally talk them out of it, because you don't really disagree with them. You disagree with who they're listening to. But it's kind of like somebody you love is in a toxic relationship, right? You gotta be delicate to extricate them. You can't just insult them. Drama sells, 100%. That's the sad thing, right? And it draws new people in. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of touch on that.
Her husband is also the former CEO of Parler, so draw your own conclusions from that.
I just have to say, this video, this had a video in it, and I don't want to play the video. I just want to draw everyone's attention to the first frame.
I mean, there's some pretty tough language in that if you're interested in listening to it. But I'll be honest with you, I would be more likely to listen to Bongino in the future. I will never listen to Candace Owens, but I'm gonna mute Bongino for the near future, because I'm just not interested in this kind of fucking drama.
We got bigger fish to fry. Everybody needs to keep their guns aimed at the right target. And shooting at each other isn't going to get us anywhere.
Can I give you guys a palate cleanser real quick? Joe, I know you're going to like this because it's got double of interest for you. It's both Marines and Desert or Tiger Stripe.
I have a set of that uniform right there. That is the new Marpat Tiger.
Oh, that's hot.
That is a new uniform that is not quite out yet. Only MARSOC has it, and there they are.
Yeah, they're using it for the OPFOR on various things. Now, I gotta wonder, did this dude,
Concepts? I hope you're looking at the screen, bro. Anyway,
did the guy in the middle get his rifle as a battlefield pickup from CJNG? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Because I see no weapon sights on there. And if it were at night, I would say, oh, he's using a laser. But I see no laser on there either. So,
right. This is pretty cool to see Marpat Tiger in the wild. I knew
in the wild, right?
And I had one of the first sets, but Alpha Charlie Concepts. I know someone who's done a video on Marpat Tiger. Yeah. Interesting. And I know somebody who gave me a Marpat Tiger chest rig, but I ain't going to tell nobody.
After talking about Dan Bongino and Candace Owen, I thought this would be a good palette.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
And yes, Stormy, I did stain mine with crayon shavings during a snack break. The cool thing about Tiger Stripe is you can't tell.
You can't tell. That's right. All right, gentlemen.
You were enhancing it.
Enhance.
Right. What's the IR reflectivity of Crayola?
Now, Rose Art tastes better. I'm just throwing it out there. Sometimes the off-brand is the way to go.
Joe, you want to talk a little bit about tactical-wisdom.com?
Sure. We over on the locals page, we just put out a new episode of the book study on resistance to evil by force by Ivan Ilyin, written in 1925, but oddly 100% specific to the problem we face in Western society today. So check out that book if you haven't. And if you want to learn more about it and join the discussion, sign up as a supporter over at tacticalwisdom.locals.com. And I'm working on a series of articles over at tacticalwisdom.com where I update some of the gear recommendations I've had. When the first book came out in 2020, the gear world was very different. It has grown by leaps and bounds in the last 6 years. So maybe it's time to update some of the gear lists and some of the preferences of what I wear, especially when it comes to belt kit, because I've got like 3 different belt kits that I rotate between depending on what I'm doing. And you can relate to this, Scott, right? I've got like a dismounted patrolling belt. I've got a vehicle belt, and I've got a day-to-day wear belt. So we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff on that. That'll be coming up. Watch that. We have a whole bunch of classes listed under the courses page. It's got our schedule all the way through May. And then this weekend, me and Alan will be giving away a rifle at the Sportsman's Expo in Kalispell, Montana. If you're anywhere in the Northwest, there'll be a big show there, lots of vendors, a fly fishing demo and training area where you can learn how to fly fish. I've never fly fished in my life. My dad has, but not me. But come and visit me. I'll have a booth there representing Camp Ponderosa. And I believe we got the rifle from Machine Guns Montana, which is a good company. And come join us. Come hang out. So.
All right, very good. All right, I've got my my script here. Hold on a second. All right, here we go. Brush Beater Store promo. In the midst of the explosive cartel violence exploding across Mexico after the killing of the kingpin El Mencho, triggered savage retaliation with burning vehicles, road blockades, and chaos across more than 20 states. The threat is now potentially spreading north into the United States, along our southern border, while several other conflicts loom on the horizon. When darkness falls and danger moves close, the side that sees first wins. Brush Beater Store brings you Kyber Optics, premium tactical optics built by disabled American veterans of Afghanistan and Iraq, made with high-quality Japanese glass, ultra-rugged construction, and backed by a simple, no questions, lifetime warranty. From fast-handling LPVOs to precision long-range scopes to red dots to night vision, Kyber Optics cuts through the chaos and darkness so you can spot threats early, protect your family, and respond with confidence as the cartel danger creeps closer. Get the visual edge with Kyber Optics at brushbeater.store/collection/Kyber-optics. Use code CFC10 for 5% off all radios, accessories, courses, and optics. Orders over $100 shipped for free. Big thanks to Matt at Brush Beater Store for powering the Council of Future Conflict as cartel violence threatens to spread and major conflicts loom. Head to brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and build the clear-eyed security presence your community needs. Now, back to the show. Blaine, we talked a little bit about Tenure 4. Anything else out there that you want to talk about? Or
I've got some books coming. I got a great Marine Corps book coming out for Land and Sea. It's a trilogy of books. First two are done. Doing the audiobook right now for the first book, so when it releases, we'll have it in all the formats. But it's a lot of fun. You know, Joe inspired me.
Yeah.
Save up some credits.
You know, Blaine, I literally get just enough credits to buy every audiobook that you put out. Like, it's like,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one of those 3 credit deals. Dang.
yeah, the 3 credit deal is worth the money. All right, very cool. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, the Marine characters have been some of the ones that really stuck with me throughout the series.
Well, this one is, if anybody has ever seen the movie The Dirty Dozen, that was the core of this. I'm breaking a bunch of Marines out of the naval brig and putting them in action against the aliens. And it's just a lot of fun. We even got these really cool patches for the unit.
Oh, very cool.
Chisholm's Black Sheep.
Nice.
It's fun. It's just I'm just having a good time. And why should I?
My Purebloods patch that ironically came out without any influence from you, and before you even wrote the books from patch shops, but I can't find it right now.
Well, I've been actually, it's kind of fun because I have started on the final Blue Dawn book, the actual writing of it. I've got 2 chapters done.
I don't have a patch available, but I do have an in-universe mug.
Yeah.
It's very nice. All right.
By
the way, Blaine, speaking of land and sea, we are almost complete with shipping of all of the
I got my
graphic
notices yesterday. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, we've got about 80 still in the pipe. For domestic.
I'm waiting for the go from Watcher that the last thing is shipped, and we will be dropping an update with pictures of shipped books and last order shipped. So people have been pretty good about letting us know if their addresses need to be updated. So we've been keeping on top of that. And
yes, and I should say the people who did let me know, I have a difficult time accessing the system to be able to comment you back. But when we enter your order, we have let you know in the private message in your order that we did use the updated address. So you should all be getting that. It's just I don't have a good way of putting that out in public.
Yeah, I was proud of you, Watcher, of solving my address problem on your own without even asking. So.
Yours was easy.
He was like, I know he doesn't live there anymore.
And there are a couple of you that I didn't see your address change notification until after we already shipped it. It's fine. I just shipped you a second set, and we'll get yours back, and then I'll just open it back up. It'll be fine.
And then once the books are all shipped, then the next thing will be us putting together a web store so that everybody who wants to order a Doorkickers or a Land and Sea graphic novel will be able to get those there. It'll be a little more expensive than it was on the campaign. That's the whole point of the campaign. We're trying to incentivize people to back the campaign versus the kind of on-demand version that comes later. But we do have overruns of every print, so we'll be able to continue to sell those for a little bit.
Graphic novel is just a bougie word for comic book.
It is a comic book. It is 100%. I enjoy using that.
I will stand on this because if I say the word comic book when I take these into the post office, I get tackled. They're not comic books because comic books have ads in them, and we can't
have ads in them, right?
Yeah. That's right. They are graphic novels because otherwise I'd be paying a mint to ship these.
And yes, Doorkickers does have detailed gore, and I'm here for it. It's pretty darn good. So
I'm not gonna lie. Doorkickers, like I like a lot of urban fantasy stuff. Doorkickers is probably one of my favorite graphic representations of it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we're at with that story. That is a story that I've actually already done, but I've got a chit chat with Brent, and I got the outlines almost. I of course, you know how it is, Blaine. If you get the opportunity to rework something, you do it. But we've got the outline for the next book.
I know that we have 3 options. I know that you and I have been discussing 3 different graphic novels, and that's one of them. And then there's another one that everybody already
Peregrine,
knows. And then another one that nobody else knows about that I think would be your ticket to printing a mint, but that's just me.
Let me back you guys up here and say on the media mail notes, I see some comments about it on the chat. Hey, listen, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, media mail, they like give to a donkey and it goes like half the speed of regular mail. Like they intentionally slow it down.
They do. No, and so here's the deal so that everybody knows. It's terrible, but it is what it is. They are required by law to offer a significantly discounted rate to people who are authors that are trying to distribute their works. Because of this, they vindictively, this is not even a joke, they literally slow it down on purpose. Like it could go just as fast as the other packages. There's trucks coming, but they'll hold it and make it wait. But it's way cheaper. It's like half the price of shipping anything else.
It's literally
it would not be cost effective to be an author and use the U.S. mail. So,
yeah. James, this means a lot to me because I'll be honest with you, Doorkickers should have been out over a year ago. So I don't want to get into my personal story, but there's been some stuff going on in my back.
I blame NATO.
You blame NATO. NATO was involved. Let me just say that I thought I was going to be back home 3 years ago, and yet here I am, still in Korea. All right,
here you are, and you still don't know if you're going to make it home in time for something you promised me you would be here for.
Yeah, dude,
I'm about to start calling you weatherman.
Don't get me started.
Joel, all I'm saying is we need to start looking at forceful rendition. That's all.
That's put a bag over my head and ship me. I'm down for that. I'd be okay with that. My wife might not be happy with that. All right, gentlemen, let's get on with the main topic at hand. We're talking today about the State of the Union. Like I said, I think that while this is not what you'd call conflict, it is the foreshadowing of a lot of conflict in the domestic arena, and it's also kind of the after action on some of the other more recent conflicts, such as the Venezuela thing. And so let's dive into it here. This is an article from Zero Hedge. Trump talks economy, immigration, taxes, and AI in the State of the Union. Let's see. So it was 2 or 3 hours. I guess it was just shy of 3 hours, right? Like let's see. It's the longest on record, at least since 1964. Trump emphasized border security, energy production, and tax policies while throwing Democrats under the bus over the economy and the unchecked illegal immigration. Yeah, he's right to do so. Trump declared a golden age for America and stated that the State of the Union is strong, tying key themes of the nation's upcoming 250th anniversary. We could hit some of the highlights on the economy. Core inflation dropped to 1.7% in recent months. I mean, he said that he reported that gas prices are down to $1.80 in some places. Is that true?
I have seen that. It's not anywhere near me though. Texas is what I'm hearing near the refinery.
Yeah, that's what. So right. So like the lowest I've seen it in the last 10 years is probably 170 something, and that was in Texas when I moved to El Paso. But that was
I remember during COVID buying it for like with my discount at the warehouse store for like 87 cents. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was probably about 10 years ago. You're probably right.
Yeah, I think
6 years. So
I think it was 2017 is when I saw that 170, and that wasn't the cheapest. That's just like I remember, like in the hotel, we had just got to El Paso. We were in the hotel across the street from the gas station because the light was coming through the window at night, and it was like 171.
This is painful. I don't want to hear about it because at that time I was living in Oregon and gas was around $4. So can we move on?
I just paid, I think, yesterday $268 or $258. So
270 something here, 280 something.
The high test.
Yeah,
if you go to BJ's, it's like 240.
Yeah, it's about that here. It's almost 3.
AC's high test here is like 350 right now, which is pretty fucking cheap.
I just remember, Blaine, you're a Michigan native too. How you feel about the governor or the mayor of Grand Rapids right now? Have you seen?
I haven't been tracking what that idiot's been doing.
He wants to eliminate the K-9 unit on the police department.
Well,
Because
he's
dogs
a fucking idiot. Okay, that's an easy one. I don't even have to know the background of it. That's a stupid idea. Let me guess. Dogs are racists.
Yeah. He says if you can't find a guy in the woods without a dog, you shouldn't be in the job. And he's just an absolute moron.
Yeah. Well, this is Michigan is slid. Look at what you got going in Detroit. You've got the Detroit chief of police who's arresting his own cops for tipping off ICE about offenders.
Oh, man. You know, there's a reason why when I was on the Detroit Metro Identity Fraud Task Force, we never told local cops what houses we were going to hit. That reason right there. And in Flint, we actually detained a Flint officer that we knew was a cousin of the suspect. And we went to his sergeant and said, hey, you got to have this guy in the station for the next 3 hours, nowhere near a phone. And they were like, why? We're like, you just do. FBI said so. And it's crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. All right, what else? Mortgage rates are at a 4-year low. Record stock market highs since his election, with everybody's portfolios gaining. Here's the problem: they went up like X amount, but then went down Y amount like since the end of the year. So it's kind of like I'd like the market to start going back up again. More Americans are employed than ever, with 100% of new jobs in the private sector, and 2.4 million off food stamps.
I think that should actually be trumpeted a lot higher than it is. Every other government has been counting government, or every other government counted government jobs. And so like whenever there'd be a bad financial sector loss, they'd create a bunch of do nothing jobs in the government and hire a bunch of people and count the offset.
Well, they said that even the only place where we actually lost jobs in the economy was when we did the big mass layoffs with the federal government, and almost all of those were voluntary. So these are literally people being voluntarily leaving government service.
And another thing that we're noticing, weirdly, and not exactly the topic, but it's close to, AI is not causing the mass layoffs everybody predicted it would, because it's mostly just making workers more productive. And
but to the point that's down there, I will tell you, our energy costs here in Virginia overnight went up a third.
Oh yeah,
because of these data centers going in.
Well, because what is it? 1/3 of all data centers are going into the corridor there by Loudoun County.
Yeah,
well, that makes sense because isn't that where? Well, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be ingracious, but isn't that where the 3-letter agencies generally do a lot of their data analysis? And isn't it easier?
Data analysis in the middle of the desert in Utah.
Yeah, that's right. There is that. Well, but these are actually the AI training clusters that are going in, with the exception of XAIs. Almost all the major companies are putting their stuff in Virginia. I guess there's some tax breaks or something, but ultimately it's pushing the cost of electricity up.
Did you see the guy who said that most of the West looks like this, and he showed like some scrub desert, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know why we're not covering this up with solar panels and that." And I said, "Because we would shoot you. That's why."
Let's see. Trump also announced a deal with major AI and tech companies to cover their own data center electricity. Now, this is a long time coming because, just like you said, Blaine, no matter what you think about AI, if it's basically tweaking your electric bill 30 to 50% higher, you all of a sudden are not happy about AI. No matter what it does for you. So I think this will probably be a good deal. There's been a lot of talk about them basically like the AI companies paying some of these trillions of dollars that they're taking in to subsidize electrical bills for people in the area where they have data centers. Let's see, banning Wall Street firms from mass buying single family homes. I think that is an absolute win. Of course, they're referring to like BlackRock, State Street, and some of these other kind of, they're just. I've heard in some towns where there was some economic depression, they basically bought up entire neighborhoods, essentially. Immigration and security. We've got 0 illegal border crossings in the past 9 months, with fentanyl flows down 56%. Now, Joe, this is the one that I was really happy to see. The fentanyl deaths are down like 64% or something like that.
Almost like there's a direct correlation between control of the border and fentanyl deaths. Weird, right?
Crazy.
It also helps that there's all these defective narco boats that seem to just blow up on their own.
Right.
You know, and the drugs never get here.
It's crazy. They got a quality control problem there at Evinrude. So
yeah, Mercury, man.
Yeah.
Well, Evinrude's like, hey, we don't mind. We don't care if you guys blow up our engines. As long as they pay for them at full price.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna buy me a new one.
All right. Gosh, there's a lot of white in the chat all of a sudden over on Rumble. So glad to see people who are not members in there. But hey. All right, let me get to the next thing here. Murder rate is at the lowest in 125 years. I don't know if that's in America, but I know that was specifically in DC that he cited that number.
I think Blaine should take a victory lap here because I think it's through Blaine's personal work that the murder rate is down because he's caught like the last 5 serial killers we've had in America.
No. Not me. But let me just tell you, I took my grandson to San Antonio because I'm taking him around the country to see important American sites.
I thought that was a great picture. Yeah.
250th anniversary stuff. So we were talking, and our Uber driver was a member of the police department. And I said, we were here a year ago. I was there for the Republican convention last year. I said, there were homeless people everywhere. Where are they? And he goes, oh, we took a page off Donald Trump. He said, we decided and figured out that 82% of our crimes were being committed by 12% of our criminal base. So he said, first, we removed the camps. We set up treatment centers instead, so they have to get clean. If they don't get clean, they can't stay here. And he said, then we just arrested the 12% of people that were committing 80% of our crimes. He goes, our crime rate is so low in San Antonio now, it's amazing. And they're a city that completely depends on tourism and stuff.
100%.
And they were like, we literally took the rope program that Trump implemented in DC and did it here. That's all we did. He said it was so simple. And he goes, and it's completely effective. So hats off to San Antonio. And by the way, this is why crime is going down, because you don't hear about San Antonio on the national news bringing its crime rate down. But a lot of these smaller cities are adopting the same approach that Donald Trump pushed in Washington, D.C. Sans the arrival of the National Guard. But even now, the D.C. residents are all kind of like, let's not be so quick to take the guard off the street.
Right. They're actually pretty happy. And, Memphis and D.C. were two really stark kind of like where the population actually said, wait a second, we were against this, but now we're for this.
Yeah.
Because they saw, A, they didn't bother us, and B, the crime was over. And especially in D.C., it's absolutely night and day different, evidently. Hunt's Dirty Roofer for $2 over on Rumble says, Blaine, Tucson, Arizona, the Titan Missile Museum. I would second that and add to it in that neighborhood would be the White Sands Museum at the White Sands Proving Ground where they detonated the first nuclear bomb.
I'll get there. We're doing Gettysburg next.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good.
Wow.
I mean, talk about hallowed ground.
Not only that, but to get to the test site, they only open it one day a year.
In South Dakota, too, at one of the little exits, just as you get off in the Badlands, there's a Minuteman missile museum.
Yeah. And
out in front, they've also got an Air Force Peacekeeper armored vehicle, which, as a former military policeman, that was a legit one of the first MRAP types, right?
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Let's see. All right. Let's see. We'll continue on with this story here. Demanded restoration of DHS funding, accusing Democrats of defunding it and enabling threats. Oh, by the way, when they looked at the GDP growth, when they brought the final numbers in, they said that literally the shutting down the government, the Democrats did, and by the way, it was 100% the Democrats who did that. Shutting down the government dropped GDP by about 1.5%. Because of the lack of spending that went on in the last 2 months of the year.
If that's the case, that should tell you have way too much federal government.
100%. I mean, when you've got over $1 trillion of spending, of federal spending, of course there's too much. But this is what happens, Joe, when this is the budget passed by the party who wanted to do Doge in the first place. So it's kind of like, it just goes to show you that outside of the Trump administration, almost none of the mainline Republicans had any interest in cutting spending.
The approach to the deep state is real, right? It's going to perpetuate itself and do what it wants to do. By the way, the founding fathers are up in heaven looking down, being like, did you all read literally anything we wrote?
Let's see. Energy and foreign policy, oil and natural gas production at all-time highs, fulfilling the drill baby drill, gasoline below $2 in some states. Tariffs will persist despite recent Supreme Court ruling. Right, Joe, just like we talked about it, we called it here on the show. We even called out the actual,
literally just had to change 2 lines, right?
Yeah, the laws. It was the laws. Yeah, and they basically had 3 other, kind of acts that they were using in order to use all those to keep the tariffs going.
It's just those ones. There's a lot more paperwork involved.
Well, the only thing that is it gave the Democrats a talking point. His tariffs were struck down. Nobody follows up to realize that they were reinstated like 2 hours later,
right?
With a different sheet of paper.
And oh, by the way,
those increase,
right? Because those tariffs work differently, and you can actually get more with them. Hey, Watcher, do you want to go through some of these clips here and just kind of play some of the clips? I think we could listen. They're all pretty short.
And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
Well, here's the funny thing, right? Trump has given the government the tariffs, right? You think the Democrats are going to turn those off? Fuck no, they're not going to turn them off. That is the new. Now, if the only thing is he has got to get some of these income taxes. Like I think the working class tax relief that he's done with the no tax on tips and things like this, I think this is a very good start, right? But we have got to fucking gut the income tax before his term is over with. And the only way to do that is for us to win the midterms. I just don't know if that's going to happen.
Hey, I'm gonna highlight Karen in the chat here because our comments earlier about a bloated federal government, literally, I think it's like 0.14 in the Declaration of Independence, has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. That's literally the U.S. federal government today.
100%. Watcher, you want to play another clip?
And last year, the murder rate saw its single largest decline in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years. Year 1900.
So
that's a weird place. That's a weird place to cut a clip, but okay.
Yeah.
The winning moment was when he said, if you believe the purpose of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegals.
Yes, stand up.
That was the winning moment because it was like he drew the line in the sand and the Democrats failed miserably.
The only thing I will say is, yes, the immigration thing has brought down the murder rate, but more importantly, a lot of cities failing to report things as what they are has brought down a lot of the other crime rates. The murder rate you really can't change because a murder is a murder. But like a lot of the violent crime, they just stopped. If like they say burglaries are down, okay, well, all the police departments during the Biden administration said, we're going to stop responding to burglaries. So, of course, the burglary rate went down because we only count police reports where they say robberies are down. Yeah, because now we call them larcenies rather than robberies. And so they're down. So
let's go to the energy and foreign policy section. And let's play those clips here because that's where we're at.
And as time goes,
Oh, we already did that one.
the road side,
By the way, Marco Rubio got quite the shout out.
is she about to go on a safari or
over
something?
the last couple of months with the protests, they killed at least, it looks like 32,000 protests, 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Well, that's setting the stage for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so when you make a public statement like that, it's not a what you'd call an overt call out, but it's letting you know where his head's at.
I got to tell you, the one thing my wife pointed out that she liked was, she's like, only Donald Trump would stand up in front of the Supreme Court and basically, tell them that they made huge mistakes. She's like, he doesn't do it behind their back. He doesn't leak it. He stands right in front of them and goes, hey, you screwed up.
Well, it means he did the same thing to the Democrats. He said, you people are sick. He said, you're crazy. You are all crazy. I was like, I am so here for this. This is exactly, Fetterman in a suit. All right, let's see. Let's put
by more than 600,000 barrels a day, and we just received from our new friend and partner, Venezuela, more than 80 million barrels of oil.
How you like them apples?
Venezuela. It's not Venezuela. It's Trump-Venezuela.
All-time high because I kept my promise to drill, baby, drill.
So he's definitely taking a victory lap there. So here's some of the more positive moments. I wanted to highlight this stuff because it's not all kind of like political policy backbiting. So this is this is a clip about Buddy Taggart, who's it's his 100th birthday, and he's getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom. No, he's being honored for his own, and then they gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the hockey team.
Buddy Taggart, at age 17. Buddy volunteered to defend America in World War II, serving in the Pacific under the great General Douglas MacArthur. He fought bravely in the famous Battle of Manila, worked so hard. He was badly wounded and almost killed by enemy machine guns in Luzon. And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines, one of the largest anywhere in the world. But he earned many honors, including a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, came home, started a family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday.
Wow.
Looking pretty good for 99 years old.
There are not a lot of World War II veterans still alive.
Well, and they have 2 of them up there, and one of them gets the Medal of Honor later.
Yeah, I lost my favorite one this year, but man, that's crazy. Yeah.
But not
then
everyone
let's
was
see.
able to stay so composed.
Yes.
You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords.
Can we pause this for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a serious question for the Sergeant at Arms of the United States Senate. Why did you not throw these 2 women out?
Yeah.
There are rules about this behavior, and it is not appropriate in the Senate chambers.
But
I guess Al Green got thrown out.
Al Green got thrown out early too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this woman has lost her composure. Exactly right. She should have been thrown out, but you know why they didn't? I'll be honest, because of that thing on her head. That's why she didn't get thrown out.
They're blocking the removal.
Yeah, we don't need to hear them. Yeah,
somebody in the chat here, CWSB says Trump should have said "quiet woman." No, he should have quoted Sergei Lavrov when he turned to Andrea Mitchell from CNN and said, "You are a ridiculous woman. Why are you behaving this way?
Well,
this is not how we behave."
But here's the thing.
Look, I would have just stopped and asked, "Hey, she seems hangry. Can someone get her some bananas and rice?"
Get her a ham sandwich.
So after she spouts off, he do this Greg Price clip right here. This is like the kind of his.
Oh,
See, I would have said quiet piggy.
Well, he goes with another P word. Listen to this.
The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota.
We ransacked Minnesota.
Parts of the world and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception.
Oh, and he looks right at Ilhan Omar.
Unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA. And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games.
I mean, if they go after the ones in Minnesota, then it's that's the first. That's only the first domino. There's at least 50 more, or 50 more states and territories that are getting money that they shouldn't get where this is happening, because this is happening everywhere.
Ukraine flag, opinion disregarded.
Yeah, right.
Every legislature to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle.
I think he was constipated.
Then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
I thought this was the best.
Oh, it's the best.
Because literally, it showed the difference. These people blew it. They totally 100% blew it.
They think their defiance is strength, but what it shows is how just feckless and weak they are in the whole thing.
It wouldn't have killed them to stand up. It wouldn't have hurt them one bit, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I love the gesture too. It's like, look who's not standing.
Yeah. Josh Clark, well said. 21st century problems demand 19th century solutions. Yes.
More like 16th century solutions, maybe.
The fact that they're literally siding with the illegals over the American citizens is something that it just
so telling.
It was like whoever cooked up that little twist to his speech deserves a bonus of some sort, because it's like literally this defined. They will use the individual shots of these people when they're running for their midterms.
You know, there's a lot of commentary in our chat right now about bringing caning back, but I will point out, you need to remember who did the caning and who was caned. It was the Democrats who almost beat a man to death in the chambers.
Yeah.
Prior to some
dang it, I'm trying to find the meme, and it's gonna be like shoot, I can't find it. The stupid the Baron Trump whispering to his dad meme. Make them stand, Father.
I love watching Destro too. He just looks so depressed all the time.
All right. So this is just kind of a little follow-up. So President Trump's reportedly planning to outline an unconventional idea for personal and corporate tax cuts that he could implement without Congress. Bloomberg reports that media figures outline the details of the closed-door discussion in broadcast appearance, but said they don't have additional details. Trump has previously floated rebate checks for Americans that would be funded by tariff revenue, but the administration officials said that would require congressional action, because it's an outlay of funds. Trump emphasized his plans and administration has teased to lower housing costs by borrowing institutional investors. We talked about that, creating retirement savings. I tell you, the Trump account is a good fucking deal, is a really good fucking deal. You know, especially if you're having a kid right now and you get the $3,000. I mean,
yeah. My daughter, when she filed her taxes a few weeks ago, they actually ask you when you're filing your taxes, do you want to sign up for a Trump account? And she's like, she didn't know much about it. And she was like, sure. And she's like, there's money in the account. Yeah. Like, this is a real thing.
Yeah. Well, our 15-year-old, we're going to sign her up for one. And you can do a minimum or a maximum of $5,000 contributions per year to your child's Trump account. And that grows it basically turns into an IRA once they turn 18. And just remember, compound interest is your friend. And if you put $10,000 in a 10-year-old's account and just leave it there with that money, when they retire, that money is $500,000.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. All right. So I think that's enough there. Let's go on to some of the other positive stuff here. Leftist media outraged. Joe, I thought this was one of the better parts of the night.
Hockey's always been the most base sport. This is not surprising. So,
the last time the U.S. men's hockey team won the gold in 1980, they had to first defeat the communist Soviet Union. It was not the final game of the Olympics, but it was the second to final game. It was the only game that was treated as an epic battle of cultural and political ideas and not just a sports competition.
And then we beat the commies again this year.
Yeah, the Canadian commies. In 2026, the Team USA finally won again against the increasingly communistic country of Canada. Maybe this time around, the global audience was not as aware of the political nature of the event, but the woke left was certainly spellbound. I mean, anybody who saw the U.S. when we played, by the way, we got demonetized for playing the beginning of the U.S.-Canada game the other day. But the one from last year where in the first 8 seconds, they got into 3 separate fights. I thought that was pretty classic. In other words, they expected the Canadians to win, and they planned to gloat about the downfall of the U.S. image at the feet of a far-left country. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. Lost Core 23 for $10 over on Rumble says, I know I'm quite a bit back, but the citizens versus illegals comment, a point I always make, what does the U.S. citizenship get you? All administrations during my lifetime seem to prioritize everyone except for the U.S. citizens.
100% right.
This is the one thing that Trump has done, even over other Republicans, in my lifetime, to include Reagan, because even Reagan did an amnesty for some illegals, is that he has prioritized A, the U.S., and B, U.S. citizens.
No, I think that's right. But while Trump is the president, he doesn't administer programs at the street level that impact you and me. And the federal government will still trample all over the U.S. citizens. And the folks who are not citizens get every break in the world, every tax break in the world, and every lax enforcement in the world. So the difference also is this: if an illegal, if somebody protests in support of the illegals, they'll get pushed away and sent on their way and told to back off. If we protest on behalf of Donald Trump, we will get arrested, and that's a problem that needs to be fixed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing he's done is he's raised to the Americans' attention very indirectly, but the fact that if you're here illegally, or you're here on a visa, even if you're here legally from another country, you're just a guest here. You do not get the same legal protections that American citizens do under the Constitution. You do get a certain form of due process, but you don't get the whole shoot and match.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Maryland father, in which case, Albrego Garcia is still floating around out there.
Let's see.
The fact too, they were all upset about Kash Patel being there and celebrating, and I was like, "This is hilarious." If you always have to flip it around. If this was reversed, if this was the Biden administration, would they feel completely different? Absolutely.
I will say this though: we've never had an FBI director put himself in that position, and decorum does matter at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't criticize him from a partisan standpoint. My thing, I'm complicit
about, hey man, maybe if you were accomplishing a few of the things you said you were going to do, I'd be a little more forgiving on this.
Right.
But taken as a whole, it added to my disappointment. But again, you make a good point, Blaine. So.
I want to let's see, go down. Yeah, play this video here.
1 minute. 1 minute. And by the way, your goalie played not bad.
Howie, say hi. Howie, say hi to him.
How you doing, Don? I have seen hockey goalies have slightly worse games. Unbelievable, and you were all unbelievable. And that team is pretty good you played. I don't know if it's not going to get anytime soon, right? And, I tell you what, I just told my people 2 minutes ago, I didn't know they'd be calling. I said, we're giving the State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. I could send a military plane or something. But if you would like to, it's the coolest night. It's the biggest.
We're in.
Yeah.
Can you pick us up in Miami on Tuesday morning?
Yeah, Tuesday morning. Go to Northern Border. We'll get cash and we'll get the military to get you guys over.
Let's go.
All
right.
Boys are going to the State of the Union. The nice thing about being president is I can tell you, you don't have to worry about the weather or landing. We don't care if it's snowing, if it's a worst blizzard. We sailing through that sucker just like you did at the ice track.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, we'll do it at the White House anytime. What would really be cool, and we'll do the White House the next day, we'll just have some fun. We have medals for you guys. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that. I do believe I probably would be impeached, okay? But anyway, if you could work that out, I would be honored to have you all introduce you to the whole.
I got it, boss. I got it.
Okay, you got it, Cash.
I'm on it.
Cash is doing it. I'm happy.
I'm fucking on it.
Congratulations. That was an unbelievable game. I don't know if one person that wasn't, everybody that called me said, I'm watching the hockey game. I don't know if anybody that wasn't. And you're going to be proud of that game for 50 years as you grow older. I mean, it was amazing. So we love you guys. Congratulations. And I hope to see you, Cash, Tuesday night. And I want to shake hands. I'm going to shake hands with everybody. But I got to shake hands with that goalie.
We'll see you Tuesday night, Mr. President.
See you Tuesday night.
I'm driving the bus, boss. We're bringing the whole bus.
All right. He
Want to
does
point out,
redeem
though,
himself a little bit with that.
I got to take a little bit of a victory lap here. Jack Hughes, the one who scored the game-winning goal, is a native of Canton, Michigan, same town I lived in.
Hey.
Awesome.
Did you see
Hometown
the story
boy.
about how Jack Hughes was cut from the original Miracle on Ice team?
Yeah, but the internet conspiracy theorists are saying that's how you know the game was rigged, and I'm like, come on,
I love it.
I mean, by internet conspiracy theorists, I mean Canadians. Sorry, Bestia, but
that's so funny. Anyway, so that was good. They brought them in. They gave them. I think it was the goalie the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He's like one of 12 athletes, I guess, who have gotten it. So that was pretty good. And I wanted to highlight real quick some of the other medals that were given. Hold on a second, Watcher. I got a picture. One of the pictures is the same guy who was on the thumbnail. He's the Blackhawk, or no, I'm sorry, the Chinook pilot who took a lot of rounds in his and continued to fly the mission. He's a CW5 from the Night Stalkers. And Joe, have you ever seen anybody freak out more about a simple patch on a guy's uniform that the freaking people in the comment sections have been doing about, like, what's that red patch? You know, it's like, dude, that's the U.S. Army Special Operations patch. That's what Delta and the Night Stalkers get.
no, I didn't see any of that, and they don't understand, so I don't even care. So
the next thing was the other guy, the old guy you just saw there. Go back, Watcher. Yep, he was in World War II, Vietnam, Korea, and Vietnam. He was given the medal for shooting down, I think, 4 out of 7 Russian jets that jumped them. I guess there was something about the location of the of what happened because of the it was classified for a lot of years afterwards. So I thought that was very cool.
Close to North Korea, or
and he's 99 too, so he's up there as well. So you had basically 2 centenarians hanging out in the gallery. So it was very cool. Hunch Dirty Roofer says the best part was after the game, they brought Johnny Gaudrew's kids on the ice. He died to a drunk driver like 8 months ago. Yep, pure class. We played that video the other night. That was great.
I think the best treat is this guy got to sit next to the first lady.
Tell me about it. So I think, and then also they also gave Purple Hearts to the 2 National Guards men who were the National Guardsmen. One is a man and one is a woman. The woman died, but the man lived. He took that bullet to the head, and he was there that night, and he received his Purple Heart. They gave, of course, the Purple Heart to the parents of the female who died in a terror attack against U.S. And it was a Purple Heart because it was a terror attack. And they were on duty when it happened.
Enemy combatant, 100%.
It was exactly right. And I think that is absolutely. And so some people are criticizing, oh, well, look how fast he got the Medal of Honor. When it's clear and cut, it's easy, and ultimately it comes directly from POTUS. And if POTUS wants it, POTUS gets it.
And there were multiple witnesses to the act of valor that led to it. It literally meets the definition. So
right, and then he also, but evidently it's a more holistic citation because of his efforts as the lead planner, the flying the lead ship, all this kind of stuff. So I mean, he was literally at the tip of the spear for that whole thing, and so I think it was absolutely appropriate. Here's the thing you don't realize:
for a Silver Star until he got shot, and that just boosted him up. Yeah,
right. Here's the thing you don't realize: the military is what slows down most medals of honor, not the politicians. The politicians love giving out medals. It's the military that are like, well, we don't want everybody to get one. Like if every guy who threw himself on a grenade were to get his medal, it was just crazy. Some of the things that they weren't acknowledging during GWAT. So
let me point out, it isn't just the GWAT. It goes all the way back to Douglas MacArthur saying famously, I won't give the Marines a unit citation because the Marines have enough medals.
Yeah. All right. what's next here? All right, so I changed the order after the show started, by the way, watchers. So just so we got that one. Okay, so the mother of Irina Zhushka was there, I guess. Let's see. Trump used the State of the Union speech to pay respects to Irina Zhushka, the young lady who was murdered by the beast on the train this is Tommy Robinson. He said in Charlotte, North Carolina, stabbed in the throat from behind. The whole carriage ignored the terrified girl as she died alone. And the Democrat, this is the other thing too, right? If there was a time that really stuck in my craw the whole night, it was the Democrats not standing for this young girl's mother. Let's watch this clip.
Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget. There were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal set free to kill in America. Came in through open borders. Mrs. Zaretsky, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
That's the only Ukrainian that won't stand for it, Joe.
I know. It's crazy, right?
How do you not stand? How do you not stand?
And good on him for actually calling them out right there.
Absolutely.
He said they were sick after that, if I remember correctly. Yeah. No, I guess there's a comment, community that the ones pictured on the TV screen didn't stand, but some did stand. Okay, well you couldn't fucking see them.
It doesn't matter. The point still stands. How do you not stand? I don't care how many it was. Even if it's just one, how do you not stand?
Right.
Their whole platform is they hate Trump. They're going to anything that he says, they're going to do the exact opposite of it.
And that's the problem, right? They can't remove the man from the issue.
Correct.
Right? It's crazy.
I got no issue with her being there. She was sitting right next to her. Charlie Kirk got the shout out as well during the State of the Union. So, I mean, if she wasn't next to her, it's not like she would have been on screen. So, not everything is a conspiracy. All right. Next up. Oh, yes. I love this. This is what I love. I love when CNN validates. It's like, it's popular with the regular people when CNN has to admit it. This is Rapid Response 47. This is a Trump White House. So go ahead and play it here.
64% say his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. And look at the growth President Trump made over the speech. So pre-speech, it was 54% of speech watchers said his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. After the speech, that number goes up 10 percentage points. So Donald Trump made some progress with people watching the speech. From
a note among CNN viewers.
Yeah. Their pre-speech expectations to what they saw in the speech itself. And that 64% number, that's pretty much in range across all of his State of the Union addresses. In his first term, last year, the joint session, that's about what we've seen. Is roughly 2/3 have walked away from his speeches thinking he's going to move it in the right direction.
So a lot of red meat for the base.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. If you're a Republican on the ballot in 2026, I think you leave this speech.
Well, that's not what that poll said, is it? Because they weren't polling the Republican base. They were polling your viewership.
You're exactly right. Exactly.
But look, they all look like they just ate a turd.
He's wearing brown shoes with a black suit, so opinion disregarded.
And as happy as you could possibly be that he sort of stuck to the script on the economy. He gave red meat to the base on immigration, and they can leave the hall tonight and sort of take that out on the campaign trail.
Look at her face. She wants to scream so much.
I know. You know, Hunch, I think we're all going to mourn Charlie's passing more and more as the years go by. All right. Let's see. All right. So this next one is off the State of the Union, but it's a Trump thing that I thought fits in good for this because it kind of gets us into some of our more kind of regular topics. In response to what the Trump administration says is a rising tide of censorship in Europe, the State Department is launching a new app that will give users worldwide access to content that has been censored in other countries. How quickly before the first EU country tries to block this app? That's what I want to see.
I'll bet it's happening today.
I would point out, though, that this is just Trump renewing a policy we've had since about 1955 when we created a Voice of America.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, right. It's just a new channel, like basically the same thing, but a channel. Let's see. Lost Court 23 for $10 says Blaine. He didn't get a Boebert squeeze and tug. Better to sit with her than Melania. That's funny. All right. It says here, this is not only Europe, but also China and Iran. By the way, did you guys see the CIA is now making videos for Iranians on how they can get in touch with the CIA and help out? I thought that was pretty interesting. The platform called freedom.gov will go live over the next several weeks. According to the State Department, will be operable on the iOS and Android devices. Freedom.gov is the latest in a long line of efforts by the State Department to protect and promote fundamental freedoms, both online and offline. The State Department said in an email, the project will be global in scope, but distinctly American in its mission, commemorating our commitment to free expression as we approach our 250th birthday. I think this is on the right track, right? This is something that, like, I don't think we need to be doing media services now that essentially, the word is getting out there on traditional media through all kinds of different ways. Now we have to look into the actual growing media space in order to get the word out.
My only concern was something like this. It always sounds good when we start it, but if a Democrat gets in power, how are they going to abuse it? Because they always take something that's good intentioned and in the right hands, but how will this get corrupted if you got a Kamala in office, or some Newsom?
Yeah, it's one of those kind of, like, it can cut both ways, right? The double-edged sword. So, it's kind of like getting rid of the filibuster, right? That's something that they can use against us when they win. So do we not use it now and just wait for them to make it? And then, so I feel like we have to be aggressive while we have. I
agree. I just always worry about any new program going in. How will it be twisted and misused by a Democratic administration?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right.
I agree as well. But what I found interesting specifically about the filibuster is that we ultimately learned that that's just a gentleman's agreement and will be broken at any time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As soon as they want it gone, they'll get rid of it. And it's just like the Supreme Court, right? They will add 2 more justices to the Supreme Court just to pack the court, right? And it's the first time they try to do it.
And I've got one more thing before we move on from topic 1, which I know we already moved on from the hockey thing, but this just came across my timeline, and it's interesting. I didn't think about it this way. Quebec Separatist Party just won writing of I don't care in Quebec. Could Quebec separation happen before Alberta separation? To which this person comments, 1980, the U.S. hockey team beats the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union dissolves a decade later. 2026, U.S. hockey team beats Canada. Canada dissolved a week later.
That's funny.
Well, I thought one of the things that was the best was that they picked Abigail Spanberger, and I got to be careful because I'm behind enemy lines here.
Yeah.
But they picked
Especially
Abigail
now.
Spanberger to be the one to go. Trump's lying about affordability and things like that. I just cracked up with her. Her commentary against Trump was just a joke, given that she's leveling 50 new taxes on us, that she's taking away firearm rights, that she's essentially stripping me of my representation in the state and calling it a freedom act. Yeah.
Listen. The CIA is not sending their best. They're sending liars and hypocrites, and presumably some of them are good people.
Yeah, well, she's not. Trust me on that.
Let's see. I'm just seeing all these other kind of responses that I hadn't seen. Like I guess there was a CNN panel where Jennings was basically just roasting people, and they didn't have fuck all to say essentially. That's interesting. Anyway, all right.
I just have to say real quick. Do you remember we played that clip of him like bullying this new person we'd never seen before? Like the person said a really dumb thing, and then Jennings came after him and like really went after him. Apparently, that kid is like the kid of a really wealthy donor to the network, and that was going to be his kickoff into becoming an anchor. And
I heard about that.
Quit after that. He flat out quit, like literally quit CNN. I can't do this anymore. I gotta go.
Yeah. Hey, I just dropped it. This is one more CNN clip to play. I just dropped it in the private chat.
All right. Okay, I see it. Well, as the keeper of the people's earbuds and eyeballs, I'm gonna give them a warning. Warning. Swamp
Pelosi
hag.
warning? Yeah.
Swamp hag.
There was one moment where he called you out specifically around, of course, congressional stock trading. What do you say back to him?
I say back to him, as that's what members said, look at your own self. The inference he wants to draw is there was something wrong with that, which there wasn't. And if there was, people get prosecuted for it. For a long time now, we've been trying to pass this law. It doesn't have... Now it has more support than it had before. And
Elizabeth Warren stood up and applauded. Elizabeth Warren stood and applauded tonight when the president talked about it.
Well, that we all did. I did too. He said, did Nancy stand up? Yeah, I did too.
You called for the National Guard too, you witch.
I think that will pass, depending on what the bill is. I mean, what we had, we thought we could pass.
She's babbling at this point.
Pause it with her on the screen, big full screen, when you find a moment to do that.
Look at the flag.
I'm going to say something right here. That's not Nancy Pelosi. There's literally no way that's actually Nancy Pelosi, because she looks way more horrible than that in real life, and she doesn't sound that coherent in real life. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but I don't think that's actually her.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a actually very plausible explanation about Biden not being replaced by an actor after dying in 2019 or something like this. So I thought that was pretty.
I don't doubt that one bit.
On message, right? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I used to think, all right, that shit's crazy, but now, I mean, after going through the last 4 years,
Well, guys, I got to bail here, but it's been a lot of fun.
Hey, before you go, any thoughts on the whole kind of cartel orgasm of violence they had the other day after El Mencho was killed?
I think it's wonderful. I encourage more members of the cartel to kill each other and continue this. I think the only person that feels bad about this is Sheinbaum, because
Sheinbaum, right?
Yeah, her time is limited. It's really counting down slowly. But there's I feel bad that people are being killed, but this is what happens when you embrace organized crime as your only form of government.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just here. I think the best thing that I heard, Blaine, was that she instead of capturing, she had him killed because she was afraid that he would start spilling the beans on all the money he gave her over the years. Gotta get rid of him.
Her life is measured now in months, if that. She's not going to come out of this well. But the alternative was that we go in and get Maduro on their asses.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Blaine, we appreciate you being here, brother. You always bring good luck with tenure 4.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, take care. All right. As always, Blaine brings a wealth of knowledge to the program. And, talk about a guy who's got a clear crystal ball. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. Obviously.
To include his sci-fi action that turns out to be, who knew the aliens? But, Obama said this, last week. Aliens are real. All right. Before we go to the cartel stuff, don't you have a clip to play? A dramatic retelling of the State of the Union. Watcher.
Yes, the one that I shared earlier. Do you want that?
Yeah. I need.
I got it right
the
here.
link. Not in the notes.
All right.
It's in Japanese, but there are subtitles. So here we go.
That sounds suspicious.
Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, President Trump catered McDonald's for Team USA while at the White House, bringing in stacks of double cheeseburgers. If you're not following PsyOp anime on
you're missing out.
On X, you're really missing out.
That is worth a follow. That was well done.
He had his Venezuela thing out so fast, people thought it was, hey, look at what this anime came out like before this thing even happened. It foretold the operation.
Yeah.
Like, no, he was just that fast in making this stuff. So pretty impressive. All right. Cartel stuff. Fucking depressing. I won't say we don't have a lot of information about what's going on inside the cartel, though there have been announcements that a new leader has been designated. He's literally an American citizen, but American citizen in name only. We're calling this Cartel Part Deux. First things up, the cartel problem spilling over into the United States, says a Texas senator. Mexicans are very particular. This is from John Cornyn. Mexicans are very particular about their sovereignty, and I get it. But if they're not able to take care of the problem and it's spilling over into the U.S. and killing American citizens, it's our problem, and we need to do something about it. And unfortunately, President Trump is willing to take this fight to the cartels. We, under President Trump, have leaned into providing ISR to the Mexican elite forces, and now the Senate of Mexico has agreed to allow some of our special forces to go in and train theirs. Let's see. The lawmaker said Mexico is long controlled by the cartels, and corruption facilitated its government. Many of the government officials in Mexico have been compromised, Cornyn said. Yep, just like we were talking about, with those officials getting rich and continuing to do so because of drugs, human trafficking, fuel theft, and other activities. You name it, they'll do it for anything for a buck, and these are dangerous and very violent people. But fortunately, President Trump has gotten President Sheinbaum to extradite, I think, approximately 50 different cartel members to the U.S., and I'm glad to see them taking the fight to the cartels in Mexico using U.S. facilitated intelligence. I think that's a fairly succinct overview of what's going on. We haven't seen U.S. ground forces or special operations forces yet engage. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't start seeing that in some sort of like a phase 2 as this continues. I think they just went for like the head, the biggest snake head on the Hydra before new ones could grow back. this did take a lot of capabilities off the field. So
I do think that if the situation had gone on at the airport for any more appreciable length of time, you would have seen us take the airport.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you're right.
The Mexican government could.
It was the next day before they finally really had government forces in there.
Yeah.
There were reports of violence across Mexico following El Mencho's death. On Sunday, the U.S. Embassy and consulates in Mexico issued a security alert. We talked about that. The Trump administration also commends and thanks the Mexican military for their cooperation and successful execution of this operation. Let's see here. I don't want to go too much into background. We talked a lot of that stuff the other day. Mexican drug cartels pose a significant threat to public safety and national security, Abbott said, talking about how Texas is focused very hard on the border actions of the cartel. By increasing proactive efforts to defend against cartel violence, Texas will continue to utilize every tool and strategy to protect our state and our nation. We will not cower to criminals who impose terror on our fellow Texans and Americans. What's next, guys?
I think that you'll continue to see unrest in Jalisco and maybe Nayarit province or state, I guess, or states, Estados Unidos de Mexico.
Yeah.
But I think that most of it will wind down because, as we discussed earlier, they're really a business. They want to get back to their business. They had to make their displeasure known and smack Claudia on the nose and say, "Down, girl," and then do their thing. I think that they don't mind the change of leadership. I find it ironic that they're now under the leadership of an American citizen in name only, an anchor baby. But
yeah.
But hey, I guess we'll see. First thing I would do, though, as the U.S. State Department, is revoke his citizenship.
100%.
The leader of a transnational criminal organization, you're no longer a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, that's actually really easy to do. I don't know why they would stop that, unless they want to use his citizenship as a way to establish potential jurisdiction.
Probable cause.
Yeah. Right.
No, this will be another American killed by a drone strike. I'm just throwing that out there.
So what we've got here is a Mexican Navy boat. This is like a LST kind of. It's got a flat landing dock on the front, like a ramp, like a. Go ahead and pan over. There you go, buddy. Come on, pan over. Let us see the front. Oh, of course not. Go to the next video. I think actually is you can see it there from the front. There, it's got that.
I think it's more of an LPD, but yes.
Yeah. Go to the next video. I think this is right next to the.
This is the one thing that cartels don't like, because the Mexican Marines are the one thing they have not been able to penetrate, and the Mexican Marines have done more actual fighting of the cartels than anyone else over the last 2 decades.
Yeah, somebody in the chat here, we trained CJNG too. Well, we didn't train them directly. What we do is we train the Mexican military and Mexican police, and those guys end up joining the cartels and training them. Now, here's what are the new rubs. Like, that was particularly Zetas were the ones who were basically, it was a military unit. It was an airborne unit, I think, that basically a large percentage of the unit defected and started the Zeta cartel. But in recent years, they've been getting a lot of training from the Ukrainian military.
Correct.
Evidently.
On drone operations.
We even have a picture here in a little bit that's going to kind of show that a little more directly here. Let's go to the third link here, Watcher. We've got a convoy of CJNG hitmen mobilizing at night. Is the Mexican state going to be able to handle this alone? So one of the things that we saw is that the only people who really responded in Jalisco, specifically in Puerto Vallarta, which is where we saw that kind of explosion of stuff at that port town, these guys are all over. Mexico. And what they're doing is they're kind of mobilizing. So I would think that we may see some responses that are a little more direct over the next few days, maybe going into the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how, like if they do some like more targeted operations against government forces or government facilities, and then pull back, right, to some of their stronghold areas. And then does the Mexican military go into some of these like actually do land clearance operations?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that.
I think I had a Mexican Marine plate carrier on.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's a Mexican Marine convoy, is it not?
Well, I think this is a CJ&G convoy.
I don't think so. Every one of them's wearing a Marine plate carrier.
Is he?
They're all in the Mexican Marine uniform.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think they're just rolling in plainclothes vehicles to roll up on people.
Sorry, I'm just looking at some clips. Yeah, that guy's got a HK 416.
Then that would definitely be a Mexican Marine. Because while the Mexican Army uses whatever that locally produced rifle is, the variant of the G3, the Mexican Marines use HK 416.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next one. So this shows the that landing ship again, right? I think yes, or no. This is cartels are fighting back in Mexico. Reportedly successful elimination of El Mincho. This is just video we haven't seen before. Oh, he got your handle, Watcher, Cartel Watcher.
Ha!
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, moving on. Next one, I think this is this is definitely a CJ&G convoy, and you can tell from the mix of uniforms, and that's one thing these guys don't do uniformity very well. And also, when you see a lot of AKs, that'll be your AKs and the 50 cal sniper over the top of the pickup truck. That is like one of their marks. It's really interesting how they employ the 50 cal, the Barrett 50 cals as a kind of a support, like an infantry support weapon versus just like a sniper or even an anti-vehicle.
The only problem with that, well, there was one right there. The only problem with that, though, is that it tends to pass right through, right? It doesn't transfer any kinetic energy to tissue targets.
Yeah.
I mean, it does damage, but not like...
If they're behind a wall or something like that, that's where, it's...
Yeah,
that's
barrier
where it would shine.
penetration.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one here. Yeah, setting another gas station on fire, of course, because that's what they do. Gunmen armed with customized AR-15 rifles. Yeah, that's a guy who doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, most of them have an absolute lack of sighting systems on them. Look at them.
I know. That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter how customized it is. If you don't have a fucking weapon sight on there.
It's not customized. There's literally nothing custom about it. That is a stock.
I know that. Yeah. I know. I'm just saying, like, it could literally be a custom AR-15, but if you don't have a sight on it, it's fucking.
But when the only way you fire it is underarm, you don't need sights.
Yeah, I was just going to say, my favorite thing that this implies about the way that the cartels fight is that they are essentially using ARs in the place that you should be using pistols.
Well, yeah, and then the barrel's of a length where it's not accurate all the way over to that wall.
Yeah.
So
interesting for a group that has modeled themselves as an elite fighting force for a long time.
I like that dude just decking the barrel on the ground. That's a great call.
Watcher, I'm going to give you a note. Let's put this in here. This is an update from that Dan Dix guy.
I want to see the horror movie where it makes sense that Mr. Singh's gas station is actually responsible for everyone's problems. That just struck me as very funny.
Yeah. All right. So this guy was a reporter who was on the ground in Puerto Vallarta when it happened, and he did some pretty interesting live reporting on the day of.
And look at his wife trying to just make a great travel video.
Yeah.
Hey there, everyone. Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with my beautiful wife along my side here. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the situation here in Puerto Vallarta. The situation has basically resumed back to normal. At this time, just not long ago, I was standing here with not another soul in sight other than some smoldering, burning cars and some menacing-looking military men who are giving me the stink eye as they drove by. But that has since all disappeared. Life seems to be back to normal. Cars are back on the road. Taxi drivers are back in business. Uber drivers are back in business. The airport is now running again. There are flights coming and going to Puerto Vallarta. So essentially everything has returned to normal. I would say that the destruction period probably lasted for about maybe 6 to 8 hours total. But obviously everybody had their guard up following that for the next 24 to 48 hours because we didn't really know what was going to happen. But as it stands now, it looks like things are relatively back to normal. I still do not know when I'm going to be able to fly home. I'm in talks with WestJet. They have not sent me a new itinerary yet. So hopefully we'll be able to hop on a plane tonight or maybe tomorrow at the latest. A little bit unfortunate for us. In the sense
push
that
pause there, Watcher. So here's the thing. Here's what that tells you is that Mexico literally can do that in any moment, right? That is the normal. It is literally they live on a nice edge is what he's basically saying there.
Yes, that could all come out. This could happen at any point at the drop of a hat. Somebody else made that point yesterday that this is Mexico, right? Things can be perfectly fine 1 minute and 2 minutes later, the entire place be on fire.
And then 6 hours later, everything's right back. The little kids are selling chiclets again on the sidewalk.
Let me just point out, though, that as a man, you should not allow the woman to be standing on the traffic side. Your job is to protect her. Don't leave her on the traffic side.
Hunch Dirty Roofer for $5 says, "Didn't a new episode of Dragon Ball Z just drop yesterday?" I don't know. I've never watched Dragon Ball Z ever. Chiclets. That's how you know I've been to Mexico for real. It's like, because only people who've been there know about the little kids selling chiclets everywhere. Avoid travel to Mexico accordingly. Yes. Speaking of the Barrett over the top of the pickup truck hood in a cab. Here we go, Joe. It's not quite the technical that you ordered, but it would probably make it would stand as an option, I guess you could say.
Man, the bipod on the roof of the truck is just silly, right?
Why don't they put like a sandbag or something up there with it? Like, you know what I mean? Like something to like. So it's not going to skin around all over the fucking
That's just silly.
First shot, goodbye paint. Yeah, I don't think they care about the paint of their trucks over there. They just steal a new one from El Paso.
With their money, they could afford a pencil mount. I'm just saying.
Hunch says that's funny.
Well, with their money, they can afford weapons optics, but they don't, which means they're not serious.
Oh, that's true.
Dragon Ball Z is a staple for the cartels. When episodes drop, the entire country calms down for a day or two.
I have heard that before.
That's funny. Here we go. So what we got here is an anti-drone. So basically, they're showing off. This is the Deltas, the CJNG's Deltas, and they're showing off their anti-drone weaponry, and then also I guess they're showing off their drones as well. You know, and we know that these anti-drone rifles only work so well against like you know, radio freak like RF drones, not the but I don't know that we're seeing a lot of fiber optics drones over there. So this is one of their monsters after the fact. You know, holds up pretty good, it looks like. So this is a big threat. Now, push pause there, watcher. Go back to the beginning.
I want to point out that last piece of armor is pretty interesting.
Go back and push pause on the side view here. Joe, what insignia to see there on the side of the vehicle?
Huh. It's like a Ukrainian symbol right there.
That's right. So I would guess what we're seeing here is one of the guys who fought over in Ukraine has come back, has trained them, and they are now kind of like, that's their kind of their crew tag, right? You know, like like some of them called themselves the Taliban and things like that back in the day when we, you know, during the GWAT. You know, I just identifying with various military kind of forces throughout. Go ahead and go to the armor you were showing.
That armor had anti-ricochet thing right by the windshield. That thick extra armor just before the windshield is to stop bullets that hit the hood of the car and travel along it and into the glass and into the driver, right? And having that little extra bump right there catches those bullets and deflects them. So
yeah,
it tells me that somebody who knows what they're doing armored that vehicle.
Yeah.
I may have seen it on an armored SUV or two in certain places. So
yeah, right. So this is kind of along the same theme. This is some of the kind of the fab labs that they use to turn these like F-350s. Now go back and look at that window insert from the driver's side. So he opens it up, so you can see it from the outside. These are gun ports and multiple windows. When he opens it, you'll be able to see it a little better. All right, push pause there. Yeah. So essentially what you got is a door that he can shoot out, and then basically it's a frame that's holding a basically 3-inch thick polycarbonate glass, or it's really like a plastic laminate kind of substance, and that's your bulletproof. And this is not just bulletproof, this is bomb proof. This is the kind of the IED thickness glass that we were using.
IED resistant. I would not say proof. Yeah.
Well, the problem is the glass is probably the only thing on there that would resist any kind of explosive. Like that steel does not look super thick. Maybe like AR-15, AK thick, but that steel wouldn't stop a 50 cal.
No, and I think the doors probably have only Kevlar inserts, which will stop some small arms, but not a 50 cal or a 12.7 or 14.5.
But go ahead and push play, and you can kind of it pans around to the interior, and you can see the thick glass there in the front. You got the double, and you got windows looking out the back. So this is actually a really well made one compared to some of the earlier models.
And there are companies in the U.S. and Germany and a couple other places that make these, and they don't care who buys them, just so long as you can pay for it, right?
Yeah. The only difference between what you'll find in the U.S., generally that'll be full glass, like armored glass, right? Because the idea is for it to look normal from the outside, whereas these, they don't give a shit whether it looks normal or not.
It depends on the package you buy, because they make SWAT vehicles too, right?
Sure, no, 100%, yeah. Like the Bearcats and things like that, yeah.
I could use a Lenco Bearcat. That would go well in my inventory, I think.
Right. All right, let's go to the next video. It's another one of these workshops where they've got their up armored vehicles.
Mr. Lamb nails it. What's the underside look like? And I will guarantee you that the underside of this is completely unarmored because they're thinking small arms. They're not thinking IEDs. So, was this one in process?
Yeah. So this is like one of the workshops. This is like a RAM, like 2500, something like that.
That's interesting. Looks like they put some sort of a metal cover over the engine too.
So look at this. It looks like the back of but it's actually the front.
That's literally the Batmobile.
Yeah. They've taken a dually F-350 or something like that.
Yeah.
Sloped armor.
They're literally living in a Mad Max world there.
Look at that big one right there.
Yeah.
Like it's based on like some sort of a box truck or something. Jeez.
Interesting. The recovery tow point and battering ram all in one.
Yeah, right. And we saw some of these in action, in the videos we watched on Monday. So my guess is this is the police raided one of their compounds, and this is the stuff that they found. Now this one right here is one of the more clandestine, covert ones. You could see the glass was thicker, but it's not that full on like frag 4 glass.
Interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of interesting kind of hardware there that they are fabricating locally. So what this tells you is these cartels are not just like criminal guys like running around with guns. They have an entire support infrastructure that goes along with it. Let's see. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. I think this next one is our last one, isn't it? Yeah. So this is just an example. We saw several examples of this. The video shows a truck burning turned into a roadblock. Transporters announced blockade after the murder of 6 drivers and the burning of 200 trailers. The Mexican Alliance of Transport Organization is a state of deep indignation following unprecedented day of violence. The toll reported by the organization is devastating. 6 drivers lost their lives and more than 200 cargo units were set on fire during the incidents recorded last Sunday. This situation has led the industry to declare a massive mobilization that promises to paralyze the country's main highways in the coming days. The leader of the organization pointed out that the attacks were concentrated mainly in states of Jalisco, Michoacan, state of Mexico, and Coahuila. Beyond the numbers, the sector emphasized the vulnerability of those who sustain the national supply chain. Internal testimonies reflect a mixture of pain and courage as the workers insist that their only intention was to carry out the transportation of basic supplies and food, a task that has now become extremely high risk. Each destroyed unit represents an investment close to 3.5 million pesos. However, current insurance policies usually exclude damages resulting from active vandalism or organized crime. What we're going to start seeing are fucking organized convoys with gun trucks and the like, what we saw in Iraq, if this continues.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, too. It will not be contained by magic lines on the border, right?
Right.
You're going to start seeing these things starting from the south, spreading up in north. Who is it who began the Reconquista movement right now in the modern context? Not the Spanish government, it's the cartels, because they want to own that land just like they do in Mexico, right? You own the customers, you own the land. You don't have to worry about law enforcement if you control it, much like they do throughout Mexico.
All right, gentlemen, that's all I got. Anything else that we need to bring to the attention of our good fellows?
Nothing other than I'm going to keep harping on the March 28th thing until it happens. That'll be a big No Kings thing. So be paying attention to that. Maybe make some plans with your homies to go out and observe and see who you see.
Oh, dude. All right. Let's see. Any predictions coming in towards the end of the week? You think we see the Iran kickoff this weekend if they're not able to make a deal on Thursday?
I do. I believe that the Iranians have painted themselves into a position where they can't accept the deal. And we've painted ourselves into a position where we can't let them retain a single piece. After his speech last night, we can't let them retain any sort of enrichment. So I think that we're headed for a conflict over the weekend.
This just kind of popped up on my timeline, so it's worth talking to because I did not have this on my bingo card. Watcher, if you could I put a link in the private chat. Japan will deploy defense missiles onto Yonaguni Island, which is right next to Taiwan. This will help protect Taiwan from CCP and help stop Chinese aggression in the region. This move is likely to enrage communist China. Yes, it is.
I thought the rising sun flag was banned.
Oh, no. That's their official naval ensign. That's like that's like if the Nazis basically, or if the Federal German Republic basically said, "We're going to keep the swastika as our naval flag." All right, Watcher. Any thoughts from you?
No, I'm just mostly watching Iran. I don't know if we make it to Thursday. Trump has been famous for using dangling the promise of more talks later in order to lull people into a sense of shit's not going to happen until at least those talks, right? And then
we got at least 48 hours, and then he hits them. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he did that. If I remember correctly, he did that right before we hit with the nuclear sites.
He also did it with Venezuela. He did it with Maduro.
Wow.
So, it's a pattern. So I'm just watching.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's all I got. If you haven't done it already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Let your friends know that you're getting some good stuff over here at CFC. If you haven't done it already, please support Blaine Pardoe's new book, 10 Year 4. Great series. I think it's it's what you'd call a guilty pleasure for sure. It's right up the alley of the three of us, so I bet you'll like it too. We will be back on Friday, assuming that nothing happens between now and then. Hey, Joe, we got the daylight savings time coming up. Is it this weekend or daylight? I don't know. Forward.
It's generally in March, not February.
Is it this weekend? Oh, I guess it's the 26th. So I think maybe we got one more week.
March 8th.
Okay, yeah. So we've got another 2 weeks. All right, good deal. The discombobulator has to recharge. All right, guys, we'll be back on Friday. Until then, y'all stay safe.